Anchors up, sails at full. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. Doing all right. I know this is a Scarlet and Grade episode here, but
It's 8 weeks.
it is finally here. It is the best week out of the year. It is hate week.
It's 8 week. We're going to do our best. We're going to do our best to stay on topic and talk about Ohio State versus Minnesota. Because that's what we're here to talk about today. Thumbnail would be great for a football as art account. First off, thank you. Second, credit to Tom Orr for being the taker of that photograph. By the way, I probably should have said this at some point during the season. At least since October, if not the entire season, every single Scarlet and Grade thumbnail has been from a Tom Orr picture. So
nice.
That's just to give credit where credit's due on that. Our friends over at Buckeye Huddle. So Kyle, we're talking about Ohio State and we're talking about Minnesota. We're talking about Minnesota. We're talking about Minnesota. We're not talking about Michigan. It's hate week, but we're not talking about that team. We're talking about the game that was. We're not talking about the game that is coming. So let's do that. Ohio State defeats Minnesota 37-3. Unspectacular in the first half. Could have been better. Kyle McCord specifically needs to be better in the red zone. Play calling in the red zone could have been better. I think Day, if I'm going to criticize Day, along with Kyle McCord, I think Day was trying to maybe like force the ball into some older guys, even into the first half. He's like, hey, let's get Julian Fleming a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they were trying to force the ball a bit, doing stuff like that. But regardless of that, just was not great in the red zone yesterday, which, can't do that against Michigan.
No, but I mean, the positive thing is that went into the red zone 5 times, got points out of there 5 times. Yeah, but only 3 touchdowns out of that 5. So you come up with 20. What is that? 27 out of the possible 35 points in the red zone there, which is, against Michigan. That's if you do that against Michigan, you go 5 for 5, getting 27 points. That's good. I'll take that, honestly.
Right. I think,
but against Minnesota here, it should have been, I think the play calling should be a little bit better. I think McCord should have been a little bit better there, but is what it is, though.
Gangland says ran a very base offense from what I remember. I don't know. Eventually, yes, I feel like they came out doing not total base stuff early in the game. And they totally showed their cards as far as EE being healthy. We haven't seen Emeka Buka look like that in weeks. It was nice seeing really Emeka Buka like that.
He got targeted. He got targeted the most in this game, 8 times, 5 catches for 83 yards in this game. Yeah, great seeing Emeka back in here. I don't want to say he's 100%, but he's near 100% from what we saw in Minnesota.
I don't know how many dudes are 100% in November.
That is true, yes.
Kyle McCord certainly isn't. He took a nasty shot going into the half in what was an incredibly mismanaged final drive of the first half. Like, yes, we haven't brought up the chalkboard yet. So I'm not going to get super into this, but like the end of that first half alone, gonna lose the coaches some grades in the like. What are you doing? And end of that first half, they're kind of playing offense, but they're kind of not playing offense. And then you go and you run like a legitimate, like what looks to be like a legitimate pass play, but it's for the very last play of the half. And why? Because you're nowhere near the end zone. You're not going to get it there, and tackle gets like totally beat. And for the sake of reps, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but
it's late.
You're leaving your dudes out there.
It's late in the season. Like, you shouldn't be going out there for reps anymore.
Like, either run the 2-minute drill or don't.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it. Like, I know someone's thinking, well, you kind of run the offense, and then if you get the first down, then you go. But by the time they got the first down, there was only, I don't know, like 40 seconds on the clock. Like, it took them the majority of it because they weren't hurrying at all. Like, I don't know. They didn't know if they were trying to run the clock out or if they were trying to score at the end of the first half. And they ended up running the clock out, but at what cost? Your quarterback takes a nasty hit. You still don't have your number 2 quarterback. Don't screw the season.
Yeah.
On a nothing play.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, overall, how the takeaway from this game, Jared? Defense just absolutely smothered Minnesota here. 159 total yards against for Minnesota here. 89 in the air, 70 in the ground there. Yeah, that just great defense here. And they got a pair of turnovers, and that's the start of the second half there. Yeah, very, very impressed with the defense here, even though they couldn't get the shutout here. That's twice in 2 weeks here, back-to-back weeks, where there's a field goal that happens in the game there to prevent the shutout that the defense has been hoping to get this year. It's been a while since Ohio State's had a shutout, though.
Yeah, the Maryland game from 2021. Is that right? Not Yeah, Maryland. It was Maryland, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah,
is that our last Big Ten shutout? I think that's our last shutout, period.
Not in 2021. Not in 2020.
No, nothing good happened in 2020. Was it 2019?
2019 against Cincinnati.
Okay, I guess it wasn't even Maryland. What do I know?
The last Big Ten game? Oh, boy. I'm going to guess it's Rutgers. My guess is Rutgers.
Did they ever fire that cannon?
Yep. 2017 is the last time Ohio State shut out a Big Ten team.
We should play Iowa more often.
It was Rutgers, 56-0.
Hey, man, hopefully play Iowa in 2 weeks.
And there's so many times they got so close to that shutout too. I mean, how many times this year? Purdue, Michigan State, Minnesota, all with 1 scores. And Indiana at the start of the year. That's 4 games where teams have scored 7 points or less. Close.
Yeah.
Very, very close. Very close.
The Minnesota points like firmly in sad field goal territory.
Yeah.
Very firmly in sad field goal territory. Yeah. Gangland says, actually, but they might score on a pick 6. He's talking about Iowa. Should we play Iowa in 2 weeks? But overall, great day for the defense. Jack Sawyer had a huge day. I think he had as many tackles for losses in the first half, as he had all season.
I can tell you when
Yeah, Jack Sawyer had a hell of a day for sure. 1 sack, 3.5 tackles for losses, and 6 total tackles on the day. Is Minnesota's offensive line good? Like Minnesota good? I mean, they ran somewhat well this season. It's not
2.5 in the first quarter.
2.5 in the first quarter. They've run the ball well this season.
Because if you remember he got that strip sack, the first play of Minnesota in the second half.
That's right. I mean, it is worth noting that, like, Minnesota didn't have, of their 3 top running backs, they didn't have 2 of them. Especially since Zach, if you count Zach Evans being out, which he only got the ball twice out and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
So I mean, Minnesota has run the ball really well this season, but they were far from 100% in the backfield.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, my thoughts were more in pass pro. I thought their run D looked great. Pass protection, honestly, they don't pass the ball all that often, so I'm not sure. They had one of the lowest pass play selection percentages in the country heading into this game. I'd have to look.
Yeah, if you remember in our preview, like he does not throw the ball all that well here. I'm looking here for the year. For the year, he's only completing 52.5%. So he was a little more, just a tad bit above average in this game.
What's the quarterback sack percentage if you have those show notes up? Do you have those show notes up?
I do not. I will pull it up. You can keep going talking about who else had a great game. I thought Steel Chambers had a good game as well too on the defensive side.
I thought the front seven overall had a really good game. Like on the Monday episode, I talked a lot about how Ohio State's been getting pushed a lot as far as the, run straight at them run game goes and how that concerns me heading into Michigan. And I thought that especially without Mike Hall, I thought Ohio State's defense looked really like not just good against the run, but stout against the run. Like they weren't getting, every once in a while, Minnesota was opening up a hole. But what really concerns me, especially, like I said, heading into the Michigan game, is like, what happens if they just line up, pinch, and just go? Hamilton had a really good game in relief of Mike Hall. Absolutely, yeah. Zach.
And Tyleik doing Tyleik things too. Like he had himself a good game as well.
Let's see. Quarterback sack percentage, 71st in the country. So bottom half as far as pass pro goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Defense played really well. Almost a couple of touchdowns for the defense there. JT had that fumble recovery that he was just 5 yards short. And then
should have given it to Hancock. Hancock was right there. He's like, give me the ball. You should have given it to him.
And then Hancock got close too. And can we spend a minute about that celebration from the defense there? Well worth the penalty. Well worth
the penalty. And by the way, because I know a lot of people were complaining, it was a personal foul. If you get 2 personal fouls in the game, you're disqualified from the game. That's why the ref had to announce all of the players involved. That he had to put it out there that these are the players who have a personal foul call.
For a moment there, when the referee was naming off all the players, I thought it was 15 yards for a moment. I thought it was 15 yards for each one.
Nah. You just got you. He had to say it. He had to say it because
Yeah.
I already said it.
Yeah. All right. Offensively,
They said Hancock
here,
twice. I missed that one, Gangland.
offensively, I thought McCord in certain parts of the game, I thought he looked pretty good. But then there's other parts. It's like, especially in the red zone there, where he just that definitely concerns me going into this weekend's game here. But man, when Travion is healthy, you give that dude the ball. He averaged almost 10 yards a pop in this game. Yeah, that 75 yard to start the second half will help that out, but still, you're averaging almost 10 yards a carry there, and he got a pair of catches as well too. Just I know everybody loves, and we'll talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. as the stud of this offense. This offense lives and dies by when Travion is healthy or not. Like when he's not healthy, Ohio State struggles to run the ball, and they become so one-dimensional. And with him on there,
well,
yeah, it's
and getting
much better team.
Getting Emeka going again, as far as his health is concerned, is also huge, because like Minnesota essentially said, "Hey, we're gonna double Harrison all game," and Ohio State said, "Cool," and they just gave it to Emeka and Trey instead,
And Stover,
and I think Stover, and I think that like that's what Ohio State was missing when the offense was stagnant during the middle of the season. Hell, even during the beginning of the season, it was just like, oh, you want to drop your safety way deep over top of Marvin Harrison and just, play him short and long and not let him get open. Cool. We have other weapons. We'll get it to Stover. We'll get it to Emeka. We'll get it to Trey. And, even if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't statistically have a good game this game, he's essentially out there blocking two players every play. That's essentially what he's doing. If your offensive lineman was blocking two players every single play, you'd call him a god.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they want to dedicate two people to Marv every single play, that's what you're getting. Especially if they want to sit in two deep safeties. Hell yeah. I mean, yeah. Or even one deep safety that's only playing one side of the field, which is, what they were doing.
Yeah, and Ohio State has so much talent to be able to beat that kind of defense too. Like Emeka, perfect receiver for that. Stover, the safety blanket there, and Travion for the wheel route. I think we've seen the wheel route quite a few times this year and worked very well.
I'd be so tempted if I was Ryan Day, just
and
to
let's not forget about X
or Fleming, who I know doesn't get a ton of looks and a ton of opportunities, but he's still a top flight wide receiver. And a guy who I hope comes back next year. And I feel like that might be a controversial take and it shouldn't be. I really, really hope Julian Fleming's on the team next year. If I'm Ryan Day, I am so tempted to have essentially, I envision it almost like, how sometimes, especially if you watched like LeBron in his prime or Kobe in his prime or Jordan in his prime, sometimes you'd see the offense where like everyone would just go off to the side, leaving the court wide open in the middle and just, beat your guy one-on-one, give your best player and their best player a chance to play one-on-one right down the middle of the court. I'd be so tempted to stick Marvin Harrison Jr. on one side of the field and then put, Stover, Fleming, and EE on the other side of the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of different things you can do here.
Just to see what they do,
and it's good seeing all of these. Well, most of the players getting healthy right at the right time now.
Yeah. That's a huge and important key, especially after last year where Ohio State just got decimated by the injury bug. And shout out to Minnesota. They had a terrible day as far as injuries was concerned. It was a terrible day across college football as far as injuries concerned, but Minnesota had a tough day as far as injuries. But yeah, after last year, you have Trey healthy, you have Emeka healthy, you have Dallin Hayden, who is fresh out of the garage and ready to go. You obviously, you don't have Chop, and that sucks, but Chip is there and he's healthy. And Ohio State's I imagine, you're missing like two of your best players down the middle of the field on defense in this game. And that's not even counting Ransom. Ransom's done for the season. But even then you have Ike and you have Hall missing this game. I really don't know what to expect out of Hall one way or the other, but I would be shocked if Eichenberg doesn't play. So I don't know. Like I feel, and especially after watching Maryland and Michigan play, I feel a lot better about Ohio State and Michigan today than I did on Friday. Because I was somewhat pessimistic about it on Friday. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you this much, the Vegas line shifted 2 points. Before Saturday, Ohio State was a 5.5 point dog to Michigan. After, Ohio State's a 3.5 point dog to Michigan. That's where it opened. I don't know if it's moved since, but it'll move more by game day. Gangland, I agree. I think it'll move closer to Ohio State by game day. I'm sorry.
I think it's going to go down to 1.5 points. I think it'll be 1.5 points.
I think that's plausible. I do. I'm sorry, but the two of the worst games that Michigan has had against Big Ten opponents has been in the last 2 weeks. And don't tell me that's a coincidence. Don't tell me it's a fucking coincidence, because it's not.
Oh, but Jared, they gotta be really tough opponents, though. Okay, Penn State, yes,
sure,
but Maryland.
What, Kyle? Who did Michigan give up the most points to this season? Out of curiosity. Who scored the most points? By the way, heading into the Penn State game, the Michigan defense had played 0 snaps inside their own 10-yard line, which is a really impressive stat. Until that stat got blown to shit in the past 2 weeks. All of a sudden, they're playing a lot of plays inside their own 10-yard line. Huh. How did that happen? I don't know. The Maryland-Michigan game gave me a lot of hope. It was Michigan's human. Michigan bleeds. And I'm sorry, it's not a coincidence that they... Oh, look at that, Kyle. The most points given up by Michigan all season were the last 2 games. Huh. Wait a minute. Let's look a little bit closer here for a second. the last 3 games is when they've given up the most points. Going back to Purdue. Huh.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
How about that?
Well,
It's almost like they were cheating. I don't want to say that they were cheating.
Yeah. How about we do some gradings now, Jared? Unless you got anything else for the Minnesota
we totally
game.
slipped into Michigan talk there for a second, didn't we? All right, yeah, let's do some grades. Let's swap over to that scene. Here we are. All right, Kyle, let's grade the Ohio State team. Let's start with the coaching.
I'm going to give a B. I'll give a B. The defense is an A+. Defense is an A+, but the offense there, especially in the end of this first half there and in the red zone, very questionable. Like, got to do better there. So I'm kind of average that out to. I'll agree with you, Jared. I'll do B+. Actually, I'll do a B+.
Kyle, I was waiting to hear your reasoning to see if you could bring me down to a B, but apparently not. Gangland in the chat says they had 2 head coaches suspended for the same cause in the same season. Do you know how insane that is? Neither got fired either. I'm not following that sentence. They had 2 head coaches suspended for the same cause in the same season. Are you counting the interim head coaches? Harbaugh and Moore suspended this year. Okay, yeah. Neither have been fired yet.
All right, quarterback here. I thought McCord was fine. I thought he was fine. Outside of the red zone, he was really good. So I'll give him a B. I'll just a straight B.
I'll make a B-. You got to be better in the red zone.
Yeah,
straight up, you got to be better in the red zone. We're not. I don't think we're going to beat Michigan with field goals. Straight up.
But to be God, there's so much I want to say, but we're going to save that for the Know Your Enemy. All right, we're just going to move on. Running back, A+.
He missed Fleming. I wanted that one for him. Yeah, I think the Fleming miss alone moves him from a B down to a B- for me. Day was ticked off for that. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Running back
A+. Yeah. We already talked a lot about Trey and how great he is. So just A+.
I agree. And this was not a bad Minnesota run defense. I'm not saying it was by no means is it like the best run defense, or is it even like a great run defense, but it's a pretty good run defense. So yeah, I think an A+ is warranted here. Offensive line, Kyle.
How many sacks did they give up? I'm scrolling
1
up, just
sack,
looking
I
real
believe.
Quick. 1 sack, and that was the questionable play calling from the coaches at the end of the first half there. Other than that, I thought the offensive line probably had one of their best games of the season. So I'll say an A-. I thought they had a pretty good game here.
How it goes with an A-. I'm not gonna broach into the A territory because I thought that they could have been better from a pass defense perspective. Minnesota's not some sort of also Matt Jones hurt. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Gangland. I'm gonna keep him down in the B's. I'm gonna go with a B+. The pass protection against a team It's not necessarily a good pass rush team. I think could have been better, but they are getting much better from a run block perspective. So you also have to respect that. Tight end.
Tight end. We had like 3 different tight ends with a catch in this game.
Yeah, they got Gerd one at the end of the game for sure. Joe Royer also had one. That's right.
He did have one. Yeah. I would say I think I'll give the same grade like I did with the offensive line. I'll say an A minus for the tight ends here. Always great to see Stover back in, getting some reps here. Got a touchdown in his last game at Ohio Stadium here. So always a good feeling.
Is that confirmed? Does he have a COVID year?
Sure, he's gone, Jared.
I'm just saying, let's not say things that we don't know to be true.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
Listen, will they stay or will they go is a December podcast, and we'll do it. But for right now, they're coming back unless they're not. For right now. Guitar riff. Wide receivers.
This is tough because I thought Emeka, I thought had a good game. Honestly, that was probably about it. I thought Emeka had a good game. Marvin did what he could. That one catch was a catch, by the way. Like that he had a I think it was his left toe down. That was a catch. But either way.
I think it was a catch, but I also wouldn't have overturned it. I don't think there was evidence, but I do think it was a catch. Listen, sometimes cameras were invented by men. Marvin is not human. We can't expect human created devices to capture the inhuman things that Marvin Harrison is capable of. Sometimes you have to forgive the technology, Kyle.
Yeah, I'll give the wide receivers like a B minus. Like it's maybe I'm being too harsh here. I mean, yeah, Marvin had 3 catches, had a touchdown in this game, was very limited just based on the defense that Minnesota had against him. Emeka looked good as well, but that was really it. I know Fleming had a pair of catches, I think early on, and I don't know. I just expect a little bit more, knowing how good these wide receivers are.
Totally fair. We grade based off of expectation. Our expectations for the wide receivers are sky high. Defensive line, Kyle. Oh boy, I'm peeking ahead to the notes to see what Kyle's doing on the defensive side. He's gonna go
A+.
He's gonna go a bit crazy here.
A+ on the defensive line. I mean, what did they average here? 2.4 yards on the ground for Minnesota. A+.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Sawyer alone. Again, grade based off of expectation, right? No Mike Hall in this game, and they still had an excellent football game. Again, it's very helpful that, of Minnesota's 3 best running backs, one of them doesn't play, the second one barely played, and then they were left over with one guy. I'm gonna go with the A+. I really need this team to be. I think they need to get better with the pass rush, but that wasn't a huge factor in this particular game. Linebackers, Kyle.
A+. I thought the linebackers played very well. Steel Chambers had himself a good game. Gabe Powers saw quite a bit of play time in here too, and I thought he looked really well as well. And CJ Hicks later on in the second half. Cody Simon comes in for Eichenberg for this game here, and I thought he filled in pretty well. I think we're going to see a lot of Cody Simon next weekend, along with Eichenberg.
I think
I thought the linebackers looked really well. A plus.
I think next week is going to be a very Cody Simon heavy game. I think he's a little bit better with the big Michigan offensive line. I think his particular body type and skill set is probably going to be favored over Steel Chambers in this game. He's better against the run. Yeah, Gangland, that's essentially what I'm taking the very long way of saying. Sack for Jonathan Cooper. Good for him.
Corners. I thought the corners played very, very well. Again, you only let up 89 yards in the air.
Yeah.
A plus, and give the A plus to the safeties as well. The whole defensive side gets an A plus.
Yeah, that is. Kyle is in the Christmas spirit. He is getting very generous over here. I'm not going to be quite that generous. I think I'm just going to go with just an A. No pluses or anything for the corners. Mostly because Kyle McManus, man, he couldn't hit the broadside of a park semi most plays. It's just hard for me to get too generous in that. So I'm gonna go with just an A for the corners and the safeties. We had another DB interception there. Yeah. Hancock is really, really hitting his stride the past few weeks. Like, he's been incredible the past few weeks. He's been very, very great. Special teams.
I'm curious to hear your rating on and your reasoning behind this, Jared.
I'm going with a C. They need to get better at fielding punts. A lot of the one of the reasons why Ohio State was in such bad shape going into halftime was because they were getting trestle balled to death, just getting pinned deep into their own territory. Ohio State loses the special teams battles most games. I feel like they lost they won in every single phase of this game except for special teams. That's my reasoning. I think they got their ass kicked on special teams.
Just looking here. So, I mean, per punt, Mirko did really well. He almost had 50 yards a kick here.
Cool. How many times did he pin Minnesota in the 5-yard line?
I don't think he did, but he did have one of them. He did have one of them inside the 20.
Ohio State coaching won the day. Ohio State quarterbacking wins the day. Running backs wins the day. Offensive line, tight end, wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, cornerback, safety. Ohio State won every single phase of the game except special teams.
Yeah, and I just have a feeling that's just the special teams that they're just trying to run is see if they can get a block and then just fair catch it. Like
they weren't even fair catching it.
Well, no, and every single one here. Oh, yeah, they kind of just let the ball bounce, but I don't know. We're not going to see any we're not going to see any change here. I'll give the kicking team a B. I'll give the kicking team a B here because I mean, Mirko did really well. Fielding did really well as well. So I'm not gonna mark down the entire special teams just because we're not fielding punts or kicks here. I thought both our punter and kicker did really well in this game. So
Fielding had a good day. I mean, I gave him a C. I didn't give him a D. I didn't give him an F.
Marco did well too. I mean, for what he was limited doing, I thought he did well. Like I said, he averaged almost 50 yards a punt here. He had 2 punts for almost 100 yards. So,
by the way, on one of those punts, Ohio State, excuse me, the long snapper was lined up on the end of the line. On the end of the line. The lined up in the tackle position. I don't have any commentary past that. I don't feel like I've seen or read or listened to anyone talk about that. I don't have any analysis beyond the observation. It's Mirko run left deterrent. Is the long snapper tasked with not letting Mirko run? Is that what you're saying, Gangland? That's funny.
All right, let's go ahead and give out our Buckeye leaves next here, Jared. Yeah, I said B. Okay. All right, Buckeye leaves offensively. I'm gonna give mine to Trey. I mean, almost if you count receptions as well, he averaged over 10 yards per touch in this game.
Yeah,
outstanding.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Emeka. Just happy, super happy to see him be him again. That's it. That's the entire reasoning. I'm incredibly happy to see Emeka at, I don't know, in the past couple games where he's been quote unquote back, he's looked like 75% himself. This game, and I'm not saying he is 100%, but this game he looked 100%. He looked like 100% of himself. And for that reason and that reason, not alone, he is also the leading wide receiver on the team. I'll give him my Buckeye leaf for the offense.
Mm-hmm. All right. Defensively, who do you got, Jared?
Defensively, I'm going to go Jack Sawyer. Huge day for him. 3.5 tackles for loss, a sack, leads the team in tackles. Huge day for him.
All right. Yep. And I'm going to go with Hancock. He had that interception in the second half there to really boost Ohio State. And yeah, only had 2 tackles in the game, which tells me he did very well.
Right.
So yeah, I'll give mine to Hancock.
Gangland says Calvin Simpson Hunt. Another young dude getting reps late in the game.
Same thing with Ryan Turner. Ryan Turner got in there as well.
Yeah. Young guy getting reps in the game, looking excellent. He played great because they attacked his side. I mean, I don't know. I think you're giving the Minnesota offense a lot of credit for thinking they were doing anything other than trying to survive. I don't know if there was a game plan at that point. Wild card, I'm going to give mine to Hamilton. Comes in, plays, starts in replacement for Hall, the injured Hall. So, and didn't miss a beat. He may not have the explosiveness that Hall has, but if you need a dude who's going to jam up the middle and take up blockers and not give ground, which honestly is exactly what Ohio State needs, I'm super happy to have Hamilton out there doing his thing.
Yeah, I'll go with the defensive line as well. I'll go with Tyleek as well. Had himself a great game in here. Really plugged up the hole there. I'll give my wild card to Tyleek.
Absolutely. Kyle, do we have anything in the Ask Sloopcast mailbag, or do you want to wrap this one up?
I got nothing. In the mailbag here, so I think we can go ahead and end the episode here.
All right, everyone. It is Hate Week. if you're looking for a fun place to hang out with Buckeye fans, it's a little bit more casual, a little bit more laid back, a little more fun than I would say the average college football sports message board. Come to our Discord server. It's a lot of fun. We hang out a lot on Saturdays, but through the course of the week. And Kyle, through this entire Connor Stallions Michigan sign stealing, I've never had more fun in our Discord server. I don't think it's ever been more fun than it's been the past few weeks. So come hang out in the Discord server, discord.thesloopcast.com. We have a channel specifically dedicated to hating Michigan. We keep it tightly moderated, but not too tightly moderated. So it's a place for Ohio State fans to come and be Ohio State fans. So come to the Discord server. And by the way, we also have t-shirt stores. 'Tis the season, Kyle, for buying your family some Ohio-based merchandise. I'm actually wearing, this is from our 7071 store. This is our Ohio beer only t-shirt. Kyle is wearing a very appropriate for the week t-shirt, the Know Your Enemy t-shirt with a no M in that sweatshirt. Classic Buckeye Sloopcast wear. Kyle's is from the Sloopcast merch store, which is merch.thesloopcast.com. Mine's from the 7071 store, which is our like not merch store. It's just like, I like to call it Yay Ohio gear. It's just like generally celebrating Ohio, but it doesn't look like podcast merch. So, because not everyone wants to wear podcast merch, right? But if you're just looking for some stuff that's just like Ohio-based apparel, you can check out the 7071 store. That's 7071 numerically 7071 .thesloopcast.com, and you can check out a bunch of cool designs we have over there. Some of our best-selling stuff over there. If you don't know, the NFL was formed in Ohio, in Columbus, actually. The very first NFL headquarters was based in downtown Columbus. And as a result, a lot of the original NFL teams were based around the state of Ohio. Is 7071 hex code related? No, it's the interstates. It's Interstate 70, Interstate 71, which cross in Columbus. A lot of the original NFL franchises were based in Ohio, and I have a bunch of both the original logos on t-shirts and also like reimagined versions of those logos also on t-shirts. There's a bunch of stuff that's just like, I have what I call the comic book city collection in that. There's a bunch of cities from Ohio in there, but the art is done to make it look like a comic book city. A bunch of cool stuff like that. So all of it's designed by me. You can find all that 7071.thesloopcast.com. 7071 hex is close to our gray. Well, technically, the color hex needs to have 4 digits. So is that with the... I'll look. But no. It's in hex. It would be C6CACA, which is somewhat close to our gray. Our gray, by the way, is 666666. Don't worry, that's 6 sixes and not 3, so we're good. Don't worry about that. Doesn't that make it worse? No, it's not. The beast number is specifically 3 sixes. So 6 sixes is not 3 sixes. So we're good. Double. No, it's not double. It's a different number. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We have fun. Gangland, one of our staples in the Discord server for sure. All right. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the show. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's Corner? My jersey is in the rafters here.
We'll give a shout out to my alma mater high school, collecting the state semifinals that they
Hell
play
yeah.
in Division 6 football. Small ass school going at it here.
Point to the Bulldog, Kyle. Point to the Bulldog.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah,
that
no,
one
you're doing
right
it right.
there.
You're doing it right.
That one right there.
Y'all, if you've never tried to point at anything with a unmirrored camera, it ain't easy.
No.
All right, that's
Yeah,
it. That's the end of. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
All right. That's it. That's the end of today's show. Tonight's ending music is by a Columbus-based band called Playing to Vapors. They're one of my not just favorite bands in Columbus, not one of my favorite bands in Ohio, but just one of my favorite bands, period. Once again, name of this band is Playing to Vapors. Name of this song is Ghost Hunter. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support local podcasters. Once again, this is Playing to Vapors.